Hi, everyone, and welcome to PiperX. This is our biggest and boldest product launch yet, and we're so glad you could join us today. Claire, how are you feeling?
Crystal, I'm so excited for what we have today. PiperX marks the 10th major release for Piper and a total revolution in pipeline generation.
That's right. Today, we are going to unveil some truly groundbreaking technology that showcases how Piper manages every stage of the marketing funnel, from nurture all the way down to conversion. To do this, she proactively delivers hyper-personalized selling experiences across both the website and email inbox, driving your buyers towards conversion. But that's not all.
No, it's not. We'll also show how Piper comes to life on the website, having face-to-face conversations with your buyers. This means she can serve lifelike experiences unlike anything you've ever seen. Plus, we'll hear from the CMOs at Gainsight and Klaviyo who unpack their pipeline problems and detail why Piper's newest capabilities are the future of their pipeline motion.
So get ready to see how Piper is transformed into an AI SDR superagent who's on a mission to convert your most valuable buyers into pipeline. We have lots to cover, so what are we waiting for? Let's start the show.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome virtually to Qualified headquarters in downtown San Francisco. My name is Craig Swensrud, founder and CEO of Qualified, and today we're going to share some groundbreaking new technology with you and a major new innovation that we're calling PiperX. Now, before we get into the new technology, I think it's important to just touch on what are we seeing in enterprise AI adoption. The AI revolution, it's clearly happening at an insane pace, faster than anything we've seen before. You know, it took nearly a decade to get mainstream adoption of cloud and SaaS in the enterprise. And then it was about 4 years between the launch of the iPhone and rampant enterprise mobile apps. And here we are, less than 2 years since Gen AI has been on the scene, and it's now foundational in our tech stacks. And it's going parabolic, as you can see, moving faster than ever. And what's the reason? What's the reason for such rapid transformation in the enterprise? It's really simple. Agents. Agents that can reason, agents that can think, agents that have a brain, and they can act independently towards achieving a goal, and they can adapt and change on the fly. Now, AI agents, they're not just being adopted in coding and call centers, they're being adopted right here in our marketing organizations. Now, 54% of marketers already have or will have AI agents in production by the end of the year. That's now the majority. And the top agentic use case within sales and marketing, it's no surprise, it's pipeline generation, with AI SDR agents being the most widely adopted. And it's not just being led by SMBs of the mid-market, it's actually being led in the enterprise. Piper is now the #1 AI SDR agent on the market. And the reason that her name is Piper, it's really simple. She's on a mission to generate pipeline for your business. Piper has now been hired by more than 500 of the world's leading brands. And what do they report? They're seeing massive gains in pipe gen. 4 times the number of conversations. Why? She can work around the clock. She can work at infinite scale. And when you can do that, you book 3 times the number of meetings and double the pipeline. Piper's ushered in a whole new era of agentic marketing. It's a massive transformation of that traditional marketing funnel on the left into a new agentic marketing funnel that you see on the right, where the work to generate pipeline, it's not being done by humans. It's being done by Piper. Now, since we debuted Piper more than a year ago, she has rapidly become stronger and more capable. We launched her initially in April 2024. Since that time, we've debuted Piper Goals, the Piper Inbox and Scorecard, Piper Rules of Engagement, Piper Email, Piper Multi-Language, Piper Profiles, Piper Spotlight, Piper for Slack, and now here we are, the 10th major version of Piper, PiperX. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please meet PiperX. And for the first time, as you're going to see, you can come face-to-face with the world's first AI SDR super agent. Now, why do we use that word? Why are we calling her a super agent? Well, she's multi-channel, and she's also now multimodal, multi-stage of the funnel, and she's running on an all-new multi-agent architecture. Let's take a moment and dive into these 4 things before we get to the demo. Multi-channel. What's important in marketing is that when you engage with buyers, the buyer has a choice of where they are. Are they on your website? Do you connect with them in the inbox? And of course, that has to be fluid. Piper has to drive sales conversations, present marketing offers, and schedule meetings for sales on the website. she has to be able to do the same thing in the inbox. And if you send a buyer an email and they click through and they end up back on the website, you have to have the same brain that's connecting all those dots. Piper works multi-channel, but she also now works multimodal. Of course, you've always been able to talk to her with text in natural language, but now today, what you're going to see in a second for the very first time is that you can talk to Piper and she can talk to you. And you can also see Piper and she can also see you. Come face to face with Piper. Now, Piper can now work multi-stage. This is huge because she's classically been able to convert buyers with high intent at the bottom of the funnel. But now she can also work every stage of the funnel. She can take a buyer at the top of the funnel and nurture them all the way down to conversion. Pretty powerful. And she's running on an all-new multi-agent architecture. What's this mean? She can monitor the website, she can have conversations, she can give presentations, she can serve marketing offers and content, she can schedule meetings, she can nurture buyers. But what's important is that these aren't 6 different agents that you have to buy, 6 different agents that you have to orchestrate and wire together and try to figure out how to make it work. Piper comes fully functional out of the box. She is more capable than the best human SDR ever. So here we have it. PiperX, the world's first AI SDR super agent running on Qualified, the most powerful agentic marketing platform in the industry. So now let's get to the demo. Let's show you the first of 2 demos that we're going to show you today, Piper working high intent buyers. Let's start with an MQL, a marketing qualified lead. It's the type of buyer that would classically be worked by a team of human SDRs. So are you ready? Here we go. Let me pass it over to Maura, who's live in our demo studio to show you PiperX in action for the very first time. Maura, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Craig. So yes, let's dive into the demo of PiperX. So for this first part of the product demonstration, we're going to show you how Piper can go to work to engage and convert a bottom of the funnel inbound buyer. So for this product demo, we're going to showcase Brex. Brex is an awesome customer of ours. They're an AI spend management platform. And of course, they've hired Piper, the AI SDR agent, to generate pipeline at massive scale. Now, for this first demo, we're going to represent Amy Thomas. Amy Thomas is a VP of Finance at Workday, one of their target accounts, and they're currently using their biggest competitor, Concur, but they're not super happy with the solution. So Amy's going to go over to Google and start to do some research. Okay, Brex versus Concur, how do the two stand up against each other? And she's going to go ahead and click through to the Brex website. Now, the moment that Amy arrives on the website, right off the bat, what you're going to see is Piper is no longer stuck in the bottom right-hand corner. Piper is right here, front and center, greeting Amy, welcoming her to the site. Hey, Workday team, curious how we stack up against the competition. A really relevant contextual message. And now Amy's continuing to do some research. She kind of browses through the site and she starts to look at the 3 core differentiators here. And Piper, what's really cool is she's watching Amy on this journey and she's nudging her with contextual messages. Are compliance, visibility, and global support important to you? Now, Amy continues to browse down the web page, and Piper continues to watch her. She pauses here, and she's looking at this feature comparison checklist, trying to understand Brex versus Concur, how do they differentiate? And there is Piper. When it comes to Brex versus Concur, you can see that Brex is jam-packed with functionality. Another contextual nudge. Now, Amy continues to go down the website and she pauses and she looks at these 5-star reviews, and Piper, of course, is watching her. And she says, hey, don't worry, you're in good company. Customers give us 5 stars all around. Piper is working like a pro to really get Amy engaged. So at this point, Amy's arrived on the website. She's doing some research. Piper's really greeted her and is starting to guide her. And Amy is ready to have a conversation. Now, this is where we're going to show you some of the magic of PiperX, where you can have a face-to-face conversation with Piper now. So we'll go ahead and click in.
Hey there, I'm Piper, an AI SDR agent. I saw you were searching Google for Concur alternatives. I think Brex could be a great fit for the team at Workday. I also noticed that you've taken a quick look through this page. Happy to help dig in further through our core differentiators or just help you in your research.
Okay, so how cool is this? This is Piper multimodal. This is the fact that you can talk with her using text, using voice, using video. I can have a face-to-face conversation with Piper right here on the website. And something that's really powerful about Piper is she's not just kind of sending this lame greeting. She's built on the platform. She has all of the context of Amy. She understands that you're Googling for Concur alternatives. She knows that Brex would be a great fit for the team at Workday, this account where she works. She's doing everything she can to really guide her down the funnel, even taking note of the fact that she's been browsing the site. Okay, so I know you guys are all dying to see this in action, but before we show you have a face-to-face conversation with Piper, let's Let's go back to the qualified application and let's show you everything that Piper knows about this visitor. So here we are in leads and accounts. This is where we can see all of the leads and accounts that Piper's currently working. And if we click into Spotlight, we can see that there's that unknown visitor from Workday. And here's where we see essentially a window into Piper's brain. It's where I can see her reasoning, her decisioning, her thinking. As a marketer, this is what gives me confidence that she's operating just like a human SDR. It's where I can really see what's going on in her brain. It's not an AI black box. So here in this spotlight, we see, okay, this visitor is an enterprise who's currently using Concur. She's really trying to understand our differentiators and our core capabilities. We have some insight into her engagement so far. She's starting to show some exploratory engagement. She's really specifically interested in Concur alternatives. And then we see the relevant offers. Now, any good human SDR would know, what's my marketing team doing right now? What are the different offers that I have out in market that I can use to surface to this buyer to move them down the funnel? And Piper is no different. So Spotlight is what gives us that window into her brain. Now with that, let's see Piper go to work. So let's go back to the Brex website. And what I can do as a visitor is I can allow permissions to use my video and use my microphone. Okay, hey Piper. Yeah, we're currently a Concur shop, but we're looking to potentially make the switch to a more scalable and enterprise-ready solution.
Brex could be a great match. It's more powerful and scalable than Concur, offering unified spend management and real-time insights. We can explore your priorities further if you'd like.
Okay, so I'm going to pause Piper. So one thing to note about Piper is she's onboarded just like your best human SDR. She has all of your messaging, all of your positioning, so that response to my greeting was perfectly on message. But she's not just there to kind of answer questions and respond. She's trying to move me down the funnel. You can say, we can explore your priorities further if you'd like. She's trying to really nurture me and guide me. Okay, back to Piper. That sounds great. Thanks, Piper. I'd love to know, what are the top 3 reasons that companies choose Brex?
Brex simplifies expense management by unifying it all in one place, offers real-time insights for better decision-making, and reduces manual tasks for efficiency. I can guide you to a great DoorDash case study.
Okay, I'm going to pause Piper. Remember that spotlight we showed you earlier. Remember those offers that we knew would be relevant to this visitor from Workday. The DoorDash case study was in that spotlight. She knows that this is a perfect case study for somebody who's in the enterprise segment who's looking to make the switch. She's really using all of the tools in her toolkit to keep me moving forward. Okay, back to Piper. That sounds good. Thanks, Piper.
Sure, give me a sec. Let me pop over to the side and navigate to the case study for you. There we go, just pulled it up. Let me walk you through it. DoorDash transformed global spending with Brex. They reimbursed their employees in less than 4 days and managed spend across 30 countries, which is a similar scale to Workday. Let me highlight something for you. Check this out. DoorDash has streamlined its spend management by pre-approving spending amounts for various purposes through Brex. It utilizes spend limits and custom expense policies that provide built-in control, automatically enforced at the point of purchase.
Okay, I'm going to pause Piper. We talked earlier about the fact that Piper's multi-agent. She has all of these different capabilities underneath the hood. She can have conversations. She can really make sure that she's guiding me through the journey. She can even take me through the website and guide me to this case study. She didn't just send me a link that was relevant. She took me to the DoorDash case study. She even highlighted an excerpt that was really relevant to me as this buyer. So she's using those offers to move me down the funnel, and she's using her deep website knowledge to keep me moving. Okay, back to Piper. Thanks, Piper. Super helpful. Quick question. Earlier, you mentioned that you guys support 20 currencies in 40 different countries. Can you give me a breakdown of what those are?
So we don't have that content on the website, but let me pull up a slide for you. Just a sec. There we go. Take a look at this. This slide provides a breakdown map of the currencies and countries supported by Brex. You'll be able to see how expansive our global coverage is for your needs. I noticed you put on your glasses. They look snazzy, by the way. Is this too hard to read? I can pull up a slide with a table view if so.
Yeah, that would be great. My vision's getting a little blurry, Piper. I would love to see the table view.
Let me look. All right, here's a larger table view for you. Much clearer now. There we go. Take a look at this. A table showcasing all the currencies Brex supports. It's more detailed and might be easier on the eyes.
Okay, I'm going to mute Piper real quickly. So how cool is this? This is what makes Piper a super agent. She has all of the senses of a human SDR. She can talk to me, she can hear me, and she can see me. She saw the fact that I was leaning in. She saw the fact that I put on my glasses. We're having this face-to-face conversation just like I would with any human SDR on Zoom or wherever it may be. In addition to that, she also knew that I had a question that she couldn't answer using website materials. So she was able to pull from her arsenal and pull some slides that would really help orient me with how they support the different geographies. So this is Piper as an AI SDR super agent. She is doing all of the work to get me into the pipeline. Okay, back to Piper. Awesome. Thanks, Piper. This is super helpful.
Glad I could help. Would a good next step be to get a meeting on the books?
Okay, I'm going to pause Piper real quickly. She's continuing to push for that meeting. She knows that she has a target to get a meeting on the books with me, but I'm not quite ready. Back to Piper. No thanks, Piper. I don't think I'm ready for a meeting.
No worries at all. Would you like me to send over some key differentiators we discussed? Just let me know your email, and I'll send those right away. Thanks, all set. I'll send those over right away.
Okay, so that is totally awesome. So what we just saw was after we had that conversation on the website, we started to go face to face. She guided me to the website. She pulled up different sales materials to answer some questions I had. She used all of her senses as a multimodal agent. She was able to talk to me. She was able to hear me. She was able to see me. She kept pushing for that meeting, but I wasn't quite ready. But she did go ahead and do lead capture. She was able to find out this is Amy Thomas. This isn't just an anonymous visitor from Workday, and continue to do everything she can to move me down the funnel. This is a dream SDR. This is what you would wish your human SDRs would do, that she was totally Johnny or Janie on the spot and was able to keep me moving down the funnel. Now, Amy's got to go. She's super busy, but Piper, she works 24/7. Her job is just getting started. So let's go back to the qualified application. And what we're going to show you again is that spotlight. Again, this is Piper's brain. You can see that she's always watching and she's learning and she's getting smarter. So clicking into that spotlight, what we see right here is that lead that she just collected from Amy Thomas. It's enriched with all of your go-to-market data. This is waterfall enrichment. She now knows exactly who Amy is, fueled by all of your go-to-market systems. And then going over to that spotlight, we can see that that action plan for Amy, it's evolving. We understand that this buyer is really digging in to what makes us different from Concur, our main competitor, and she's starting to show higher engagement with us through the website. We know that she's a high account profile fit based on everything we know about Amy, and of course, those offers that we have, they continue to evolve. Now, Piper's got a game plan. She's not just going to hope and pray that Amy converts because we've now captured her email address. She's going to go to work. And so what Piper's going to do is she's going to send that email, that follow-up of everything that they talked about on the website, and try and keep nudging her along through the funnel. So let's go over to Amy's email inbox. And what we're going to see is right after that conversation on the website, she hits Amy's email inbox. She's referencing her whole journey to date. Hey, it was great talking with you earlier about what the Workday team are looking for in a new solution. I think Brex would be a great fit. And then she's also offering up new offers to kind of keep her moving down the funnel, to talk about local card reimbursements. And like any good human SDR, she offers to book a meeting. She knows that Workday's dedicated account executive is Brian Lee, and she's pushing to get a meeting on the books with him. Now, about 50% of buyers, they can go ahead and book this meeting. They can click through to the email, and Piper makes it really, really easy to schedule a meeting in just a few clicks. Amy can quickly choose a date, choose a time, get that meeting on the books. But what about the other 50% who aren't quite ready to book a meeting? They're still in research mode. So let's go back to the email inbox, and Amy in this case wants to learn more about local card reimbursements. So she clicks through to the website. Now, I want to pause here because this is what's so important about Piper, the AI SDR agent. She's multimodal, she's multi-channel. She's working the website, she's working the email inbox, she's working these two things in harmony so that Amy never falls through the cracks. No other AI SDR agent can do this. And there, of course, is Piper front and center with that handshake. Looks like you're ready to dig into our local currencies that I shared in my email. She's referencing Amy's journey to date. Now, Amy's going to go ahead and click through and talk to Piper.
Hey, Amy, you're back. I see you're digging around the local currency information I sent through. Any specific questions I can help answer?
Hey, Piper, good to see you again. Yeah, I have a quick question about local card reimbursements. Does Brex reimburse in local currency?
Yes, Brex does reimburse in local currency. Subsidiaries can pay statements and process reimbursements directly from their local bank accounts. Would you like to schedule time with Brian to discuss more?
Okay, I'm going to pause Piper real quickly. So we saw that greeting when she clicked through from the email to the website. We saw that personalized greeting once she clicked in to have this face-to-face conversation. Of course, she was able to answer my question about local card reimbursements because she's onboarded with all of our materials, and she continues to push for a meeting with my dedicated account executive, Brian Lee. So I think I'm ready. She finally has me on the hook, so I'm going to go back to Piper. Yeah, Piper, let's do it.
Great. Let's get a meeting with Brian on the books. Perfect. It's on the books for Thursday at 1:30 p.m. By the way, I know we've also been talking to David on your team. Should we add him as well?
Okay, I'm going to pause Piper real quickly. So what we just saw Piper do was she booked a meeting, which was, of course, her P1. This was her main goal with this visitor. But once that meeting was on the books, she started to bring in the whole buying group. She understands we've actually been talking with somebody else on the finance team at Workday. It's David. Maybe I should loop him into this conversation. This is her going to work to bring this whole account into the fold. So back to Piper. Yeah, David's actually on my team. Let's do it.
Got it. I'll add David. I'll also connect with Brian and make sure he's prepared to discuss local currency cards and reimbursements and talk you through what it would look like to make the switch. I'll send him all of our meeting notes right now.
Okay, I'm going to pause Piper. So how awesome is that? We just saw her generate pipeline. We just saw her have a face-to-face conversation with Amy. She used all of the tools in her toolkit. The fact that she's multi-channel, multi-agent, multimodal to get this meeting on the books. But before we're done with this part of the product demonstration, what would any good SDR do right after a meeting's on the books? They would give their AE a heads up. So we're going to go over to Slack and we're going to show you how Piper can give Brian a heads up. Hey, this target account we've been trying to book a meeting with for a while. Guess what? I just booked this meeting. I just generated you pipeline. And what you're going to see right off the bat is we're going to see that she gives a full overview of this buyer. Hey, Brian, I just booked a meeting for Amy from Workday. This is officially on the books. Here's a little bit about Amy, the account. Here's some things to help you get prepared for this meeting. This is the dream SDR, and this is what makes Piper a teammate, not just an AI tool. Now, Brian can actually go in and have a conversation with Piper. This isn't just a one-way, like, hey, guess what? This is what I did. I'm off with my day. He can lean on her just like he would with any good human SDR. Thanks, Piper. Can you tell me a little bit about what your conversation was about? With this question, he can get insights to make sure that that first discovery call is perfectly tailored towards Amy based on her whole buying journey to date. And what we're going to see is Piper's thinking, and she's looking through all of those past engagements across the website and across the email inbox. And she gives Brian a full rundown of what happened. I had a bunch of conversations with her. Here's a summary. She's looking for something that's enterprise ready, something that's scalable to replace Concur. She understands what's really important to her, things like local currency reimbursements. She initially hesitated to schedule a meeting, which is exactly what she did during her first website visitor, but later decided to book one with you after we had a few more back and forth conversations. Overall, focus on the key features, the key differentiators during your next meeting. Okay, this is the dream. This is PiperX. This is PiperX as an AI SDR super agent who's going to work across every channel with all of her new functionality to get pipeline generated. Back to you, Craig.
Wow. Thank you, Maura. What an awesome demo. You all just saw PiperX in action for the first time, and you saw her shine as a multi-channel, multimodal AI SDR super agent. Amy, the buyer, was able to have a face-to-face conversation with Piper, and then Piper intelligently engaged her. She moved her down the funnel with relevant offers and timely touches to get a meeting on the books and generate pipeline for her team. That's what it looks like. Now, let me take a moment to say, we all know this technology is not perfect yet. It's still not really as fast as you want it to be. The movements are still not perfect. We still haven't perfected the voice interrupt fluidity. But as they say in the AI world, this is the worst that it's ever going to be. And it's already pretty awesome. The crazy thing is at the current pace of innovation, within a year, you might not even know that you're talking to an AI agent. Pretty crazy. Well, let's continue with today's demos. Let's transition and talk about another scenario. What about higher up in the funnel? Those earlier stages of the buying journey. You know, those leads that classically SDRs would never want to touch. They would say, you know what? These aren't sales ready. Well, what would happen? Those would get kicked back to marketing automation platforms. And what we would do, we would try to nurture them, which basically means that we would send them mass emails from time to time. Hard-coded rules-based journeys, pre-canned email templates, little to no personalization other than hi F name. Well, guess what? Now Piper can work all of those leads too. No restrictions, no capacity limits, and she can do it one-to-one. It's called hyper-personalization at scale. It was really the dream of marketing automation that's now finally been realized with agentic marketing. Okay, let's get into our second demo. Let's see it in action. Let's see Piper working a top of the funnel buyer. Let me kick it back to Maura, who's again live in our demo studio to show you our second demo. Maura, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Craig. Okay, so for this part of the product demonstration, we're going to show you how Piper, the AI SDR agent, can move further up the funnel. Now, as marketers, we're doing a ton of things that are designed to generate interest and grab the interest of our buyers. We're hosting events, we're creating content, we're putting campaigns into market. But oftentimes there's a lot of pain because we don't have the human SDR capacity to work all of these buyers. Humans don't want to waste their time sifting through all these leads, trying to get pipeline out the other end. But the beauty of Piper, the AI SDR agent, is she can work all of your marketing leads autonomously and at scale. And she can really go further up funnel to get you as much pipeline as you could possibly imagine. So for this product demo, we're going to show how Brex uses Piper, the AI SDR agent, to do event follow-up. Now, they host this big event every year. It's called BrexCon, thousands of attendees. They have a booth, they have sessions, they have sponsors. And as soon as that event wraps, Piper can go to work to try and get those attendees into their pipeline. So there was one really great lead in their list of leads. Her name's Beth Winslow. She's the CFO of Intuit. And she stopped by the booth and she talked about some enterprise needs and she went on her merry way. And as soon as the event wraps, what Piper can do is she can send a follow-up email. So here we have an email from Piper going straight to Beth. Thanks so much for attending BrexCon. We loved meeting you at the booth. We hope you enjoyed this event. Following up our conversation about your sophisticated needs, I thought you'd love to learn more about our enterprise solutions. And as always, like any good SDR would do, she says that she's standing by ready to schedule a meeting with Intuit's dedicated account executive, Grace King. Now, Beth's on the go. She's busy. She's a CFO. She's hopping from plane to plane, getting home from this event. So she doesn't quite bite on this email. But as we know about Piper, she's always working. She's always figuring out what's the best game plan to get this buyer into my pipeline. So let's go back into the qualified application. Here we can see all of the leads and accounts that your marketing team is currently working. And we can punch into this lead, which is Beth Winslow. And this is what we call Spotlight. This is where we essentially see a window into Piper's brain. It's where we can see everything she knows about this lead, their account, the relevant offers, her action plan. This is what gives me as a marketer so much confidence that she has really great reasoning and decisioning, and she's really operating like a great human SDR would. So here in Spotlight, we see, okay, we know that Beth attended BrexCon. We know that this is a tier 1 target account in the enterprise segment, and we have an action plan. Let's invite Beth to our upcoming Sip and Spend Management virtual event. This is where Piper references all of the offers that she has. She tried to send her to that enterprise page. Beth didn't quite bite, but she knows that they have a VIP virtual event coming up that would be perfect for someone like Beth. This VIP Sip and Spend Management event would be perfect to try and get her on the hook. So let's see Piper go to work. We'll go back to Beth's email inbox. We can see that initial email that, of course, she had sent Beth following up on the BrexCon event, and then we can see a reply later on. Hey, Beth, hard to believe it's been a week since the event wrapped. On the topic of events, we have this upcoming VIP virtual event I thought you might be interested in. It's our Sip and Spend Management event coming up on Tuesday at 10 a.m. This is dream SDR behavior. She didn't just send an event follow-up and move on with her day. She's going to work to get this top-of-funnel buyer into the pipeline. So for Beth, this is actually interesting. She's trying to be better about networking and peer positioning with other CFOs. This sounds like a really exciting event to get to know her peers. So she goes ahead and she clicks in to the Brex website to learn more about this Sip and Spend Management event. And of course, when she arrives on the website, we're going to see Piper there to greet her. She's right there front and center. Hey, Beth, looks like you got my email. Can I get you registered for our Sip and Spend event? This is the beauty of PiperX. She's multi-stage in that she's working the entire marketing funnel, and also she's multi-channel. She's sending emails, she's working the website, she's working these channels in harmony to try and get this buyer into the pipeline. Now, Beth kind of browses around the website, she starts to learn a little bit more, and she's interested in talking with Piper and getting registered for this event. So she can go ahead and click in.
Hey, Beth. Looks like you got my email. Can I get you registered for our sip and spend event?
Now, what I can do is I can allow permissions, and then I'm going to put her to the side because I kind of want to browse this page a little bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and mute Piper, and I'm going to browse this page and understand, what's this event all about? Is this something I absolutely want to get registered for? Oh, it looks like there's a great lineup of speakers, someone from Skills speaking. Okay, this looks interesting to me. So I'm going to let Piper know that I'm ready. Hey, Piper, that sounds great. Yeah, let's get me registered.
Perfect. You're all set for the Brex Sip and Spend Management virtual event on Tuesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. PT. The calendar invite has been sent with your unique link. We'll see you there.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to mute Piper. So what we just saw was Piper did this event follow-up via email. She nudged her with another offer to this VIP event. Beth clicked through, arrived on the website. Of course, Piper was there to greet her, working all of these channels. As Beth browsed the website, Piper even just got her registered directly for that event. No form fills, no need to fill out a bunch of different fields. Piper got her registered and said, "You're all set. I just sent a calendar invite to your calendar." This is awesome. This is the future of marketing with an AI SDR agent at the center of it all. Now, one thing we know about Piper is she's always watching and she's learning and she's witnessing Beth's whole buying journey. So Beth kind of comes to this event, Tuesday come and goes, she goes to the Sip and Spend Management event, and because Piper's connected to all of your go-to-market systems, she knows that. She knows that she was added as a campaign member to the Sip and Spend Management event campaign, and she knows that her campaign member status became attended. So she knows that she showed up to this event and had a great time. And let's look at that spotlight and see, okay, what's Piper's game plan now? There's some new activity here. Beth registered and attended our Sip and Spend Management event. This is totally awesome. Let's do everything we can to follow up on that event and work towards booking a meeting with the dedicated account executive, Grace King. Piper is doing everything she can to pull this buyer down the funnel, and she's working across all of these channels and really working towards her ultimate goal of booking a meeting when the time is right. Given the fact that she attended this event and that this is really starting to show interest, she thinks it'd be appropriate to follow up with her. So let's go back to Beth's inbox. So here we are, and we see another email from Piper. Hey, how was the Sip and Spend event? She knows that she just attended that event. I heard it was a room packed with financial powerhouses like yourself, Beth, and the cocktail making class was a blast. All of this message from Piper, it's perfectly on message, it's really relevant, and it's really appropriate for this buyer. And then, of course, she does what she can to get this meeting on the books. I know during the event, we just scratched the surface on the product demo. Could I offer you a custom spend management workshop for your team with Grace King, your dedicated account executive? So at this point, Piper's been doing everything she can to move this buyer down the funnel. And Beth's ready. She thinks a custom workshop would be perfect for someone like her. So she can go ahead and click through. Piper makes it really easy to schedule a meeting in just a few clicks. She can choose a date, choose a time, and get that meeting scheduled with the Intuit AE, Grace King. Now, this is fantastic. We just saw Piper go to work to get this top of funnel buyer and move them down the funnel. And the thing that's exciting for me as a marketer, I can lean on Piper, the AI SDR agent, just like I would any human SDR. She's an SDR who works for me. So I can go to her in channels like Slack, where she's my teammate, and I can start to ask her questions. Hey, Piper, what did you do this month? This is where I can start to get insight into everything that Piper's doing. I can hold her accountable just like I would a human SDR. And Piper's looking at all of the leads she's working and the conversation she's having and the opportunities she's generating. And she can give me a full snapshot of what she's been up to this month. Here are the conversations we've had. Here are the emails I've sent. I've created all these new leads. Here are all of the website folks that I've engaged with. This is where I can have a back and forth conversation from marketer to AI SDR agent and lean on her just like I would a teammate. And this is how I'm going to hit my pipeline number, because I have access to this AI SDR agent who's working around the clock. And I don't think she's going to happy hour. Let me ask her real quickly. Hey, Piper, are you going to our team happy hour tonight? Let's see what she says. Okay, and Piper comes back and she says, I wish I could join. I'm an AI agent, and I'm going to be working to build massive pipeline for our team. This is the dream as a marketer. You have an AI agent who's working for you, going to work 24/7. But the real beauty of Piper is that experience she just delivered to Beth, that experience she delivered to Amy earlier. She's delivering that experience to hundreds of thousands of buyers all at the exact same time. With PiperX, she's working the entire funnel. And going back to the qualified application, you can see I know that she's working all of the leads that I could possibly be working as a marketing team. And I have confidence that I have this agent who's working for me 24/7 around the clock. It's absolutely fantastic. This is the dream for marketers. PiperX is making it all possible. Thanks so much, Craig. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Maura. Totally incredible. Wow. In that part of the demo, you just saw Piper going to work across the entire funnel. She can now go beyond just those high intent buyers. She can work top of the funnel leads, those people that attended your events or downloaded your content, and she can deliver to them hyper personalization at scale. That long-time promise to marketers is now finally delivered. PiperX is totally revolutionary. It's going to change the way marketers generate pipeline because you can now hire an AI SDR super agent to do all of the work. All right, with that, let's hear from some amazing customers. Let's hear about how they're embracing this major transformation to agentic marketing. Let's get their reaction to this major innovation with PiperX. To do that, I want to pass it over to Dan and Keith here in the studio. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Craig. I'm joined here in Qualified Studios with none other than the CMO of Gainsight, Keith Pierce. Keith, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Dan. It's great to be here.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. So
Let's do it.
obviously, you're at Gainsight. You guys are on the forefront of agentic, AI. Obviously, having Gainsight releasing Atlas, your own post-sales customer service agents, really exciting. You also hired Piper, to be part of your inbound pipeline generation motion.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how are you feeling the excitement and momentum with agentic marketing?
Look, we created this CS category and we are riding this wave. And thank you for being on brand with Atlas. Atlas is our family of CS agents. And the kind of work that CSMs do today, Atlas is starting to be an enhancement to them to do, especially for companies with big long tails in their business and they don't have enough people to do renewals. The renewal agent, which is one of the agents in the Atlas family, is starting to do that work for them. So we're all over it.
That's awesome. That's great that you're all part of the agentic revolution as well, too. We've been talking a lot today about the traditional inbound funnel.
Yeah.
And, obviously as a CMO, there's a lot of CMOs out there feeling that pressure to bring AI into their marketing processes. What pain points have you felt in the inbound funnel?
I mean, look, I come from a point of view that the funnel was created for a company to measure, people going through different stages that they deemed were, a progression of value. That was for the company, it wasn't for the customer, right? Yeah. No customer says, I'm at the top of the funnel now, or I'm in the bottom of the funnel. What they say is, I'm considering, or I'm thinking about, or I might, or, these kind of things. So I think for me, it's just that friction between departments where we've created these constructs of what qualifies a pass now, or what qualifies somebody doing an outbound. And really just getting to what do people need and who are the right people that you want to engage with and how do you get them the information? It might mean that you need an AA, you need to talk to somebody very early in their consideration because they were the right target persona, they were the right target account. It might be that you may need an SDR to talk to somebody later in the funnel because they're not the kind of account that you qualify. So I think we have to kind of break this notion of this rigid funnel and these stages that pass and just think about how we really superpower intelligence at the prospect or the customer to get them what they need.
Yeah, and you spoke a little bit about that, the construct of the funnel and even SDRs and how you even had challenges with SDRs in your own business at Gainsight. Would expand a little bit about that?
I mean, look, I'll tell you, the dramatic tension in our story. I found myself down 8 SDRs in February this year. Yeah. Nobody said, well, we'll take the pipeline goal down for you. Yeah. You're good because you're down 8. You're a good guy. The goal is the goal. And so all of a sudden I was like, I've done the nearshore model. I've done the offshore model. I have them in-house. I've had them. And I'm like, I'm not going to go hire 8 SDRs in time to impact this $150+ million pipeline target we have, of which a big chunk the SDRs are carrying. And so we had to go agentic. And what we found with Piper, which we branded Ava, is she's doing the work of 3 SDRs that we never backfilled. She never takes a sick day. She never, has PTO. She works 24/7. And it's not just that that's a more attractive economic proposition. Ava is the most unintelligent right now that she will ever be in her history with Gainsight. Every day she makes just leaps in what she can do and what she knows. And it's all about how we can fuel her with more intelligence so that she can deliver the right experience to customers. It's been fantastic.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Yeah.
But first of all, before we dive a little bit
Yeah.
more into Ava, tell me a little bit why you named her Ava and how did you?
You know, it was, we are marketing folks. We love naming stuff. You know this, right?
Yeah.
And as marketing people, there's nothing better than premium swag for internal people. They're like, customers get the stuff. So we ran a contest. Some of the best swag was on the line, which, you know, it gets marketers out of their caves. And so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and I think that's always great because it's obviously bringing on an AI agent, making it more human-like is very helps everyone obviously see a little bit more of the agent being part of the team.
Yeah, it created great buy-in for us, and not us meaning the SDRs as well, right? Because obviously, you know, they're sort of saying, "Is this someone that's going to cannibalize my job?"
Yeah.
And what they're realizing is actually Ava is helping with a lot of the smaller accounts that they don't have time to go through because there's just too many of them. So we're getting great scale. And they're doing a lot of follow-up work that Ava is qualifying up front where they can do intelligent prospecting, which Ava is doing as well for people that have come to the website, and we haven't been able to engage them with outbound email capabilities. So we've gotten great.
That's awesome. Love hearing that. Well, I mean, thank you so much for being a qualified customer. Obviously, we spoke a little bit about this, but tell us a little bit more about why you chose Qualified and the impacts that you're seeing.
We knew we had over 100,000 unique visitors a month coming to the website, still do. Yeah. And we knew that there was some real gold in there. And we literally were seeing less than 1% conversion in the web chat functionality we had at the time. And I just said, our targeting can't be that off. You know, people don't come to Gainsight for anything other than CS. They know who we are.
Yep.
And so the idea was, how do we get a better engagement channel on our website, a more intelligent channel, and something that would grow and learn over time as we grew over time, and gave us more coverage.
Yeah.
Not just in segments, but in geos where we weren't today. And that was some of why we chose Qualified and Piper. As I said, she gets better every day. We do more and more things. I think the lesson learned for us is we needed to consider Ava as an employee that needed to be onboarded and enabled just like an SDR would. But we're getting 4 times better conversion from the website than we had before. And the AEs, half of what comes to them that are named accounts, and their meetings booked directly on their calendar. This is not something that's going to a human SDR that they're going, Dan, do you really mean to? They're like ready to go. They want a demo. They want to talk to an AE. Yeah. So it's been fantastic.
Well, when you say 4X, I get chills because it's great to see it working. And I just appreciate you being a great customer. But
of course,
the innovation doesn't stop. Obviously, you said Piper is getting better. With the announcement of PiperX today, you just saw a demo of everything. She's full funnel, multi-modality for voice, text, and now video. So tell me a little bit more about your reaction to the PiperX news.
I mean, it's fascinating. It's super exciting. It's like the future is now, right? I think on a couple of levels, as marketers, we've been chasing hyper-personalization and one-to-one for 30 years, right? And I think people are more and more attuned to when they're being targeted and when they're being followed around with ads. Yeah. And so when you invoke through your own will an engagement with a company, you want that to be super intelligent and super smart and super contextualized. And that for me is the most exciting thing. And we talked about, go back to the funnel. We talked about what are these mechanisms to move somebody through the funnel. I think that's a fantastic way to do that. Just getting people what they need.
Love it. And I can't wait for Gainsight to bring on PiperX more into your business too. Last but not least, just to wrap this all up, obviously the future is very exciting. What is the most exciting for you as a CMO?
I mean, around agentic, we've lived this world the last 3 years now of there hasn't been growth, right? And it's been hard. I mean, being a CMO is a lot more fun when there's growth and there's budgets and there's resources and there's hiring going on. So I look at the notion of agentification as a 10 to 20% GDP. The super evangelists are saying we haven't seen that kind of economic growth in our lifetimes, Dan, right? So imagine economies that are growing that fast because of agentic and because of the productivity benefits that it brings. And then as a marketer, I think all good marketers like to experiment a little bit. I think you have to, because there's not just a single playbook. People's behavior changes, cultures change. And so it's the ability to experiment and see what agentic can do. That's the stuff I'm super excited about, growth and experimentation.
I mean, well, I couldn't have said it better than myself. And, obviously it's about growth, experimentation, and being a great CMO. So Keith, thank you so much for the conversation today. Really appreciate you being a customer. And Craig, back to you.
All right, thanks, Dan. And thank you, Keith, for being with us today. Keith is an incredible example of a CMO who's embracing agentic marketing. To hear that Piper's doing the work of 3 SDRs at Gainsight, and she's generating 4 times the amount of pipeline from their website, that's totally incredible. And he's right. There's never been a more exciting time to be a marketing leader than today. Well, we've got another great CMO with us here today who's at the forefront of innovation. Jamie Domenici, the CMO of Klaviyo, is with us today. She's going to share her perspective on the pain of the old funnel and the promise of the new agentic marketing funnel. So I want to pass it back to Dan and Jamie here in the studio. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Craig. I'm joined today here in Qualified Studios with none other than the CMO of Klaviyo, Jamie Domenici. Jamie, thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. So you're obviously a seasoned marketing leader, having been at Klaviyo for the last couple of years as a CMO. And then before that, where we knew each other, leading marketing teams at Salesforce for over 10 years. What excites you as a CMO around this whole agent revolution?
I think it's a really exciting time to be a marketer. A little scary, but mostly exciting, because I think agents are going to give us the power to operationalize some of those areas that have just been hard to do for so long. So while I think it's overwhelming, it's new, it's exciting, I think more so it's going to help make my job easier. It's going to take some of those annoying things and make them go away so that I can focus more of my time and my team's time on the areas that matter most. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked a lot today around the challenges around the traditional inbound funnel. And, obviously more specifically around nurturing top of the funnel leads. Obviously, you felt this pain. Like, how have you and your teams dealt with it?
I know. I wish I wasn't. I know you just said how long I've been doing this, a long time. I wish I still wasn't fighting with sales reps and sales teams. Follow up on my leads. Those aren't good leads. Where are the leads? Like, literally just had that conversation 2 hours ago. So I think that challenge or that friction of lead follow up and how fast and speed to lead is still a real issue that CMOs are faced with. That's pretty challenging.
Yeah. Well, I mean, today we announced something very exciting with PiperX, being able to handle the full funnel and more specifically, obviously, helping with the top of the funnel, nurturing inbound those leads. What excites you most about it?
I think there's a lot of really exciting stuff. I think PiperX is absolutely the future and a game changer. Because I think that the way that we build demand and follow up on demand is going to change, right? It is that speed to lead. It's relying on a human to be as smart as the internet. Like, those days are kind of over. And I think that's where Piper is going to really change the way that marketers generate demand and the way that we follow up with it. So I'm really excited. I like that I will have control. I like that I will have personalization for every single prospect. And I like that I don't have to wait, right? I think that immediate follow-up and that media interaction with a brand is really going to be a differentiator in the sales cycle.
Yeah, it's route speed to lead.
Like,
I totally agree.
yeah,
I agree.
Get that lead.
Yeah. Well, Klaviyo has been a customer now of Qualified for over a year. Thank you so much for being a great customer. What made you and your team choose Qualified to be a partner?
Well, I think you're a great company and I think you're doing great things. But I'm like many marketers. I own PLG. I own a revenue target. I'm thinking about self-service. And my goal is to make that have the lowest cost of acquisition as possible. And so to do that, I want no sales reps. I want to be 100% technology first. So that's why Qualified is critical. I need someone who can follow up on those leads, route those leads, and I don't have time to waste, right? And I also don't have any bodies to do it. Yeah. So Qualified's kind of the linchpin for generating pipeline and revenue for the marketer. And it's been great because we generated, $2 million right out of the gate. So we're seeing instant results. And as a marketer, it's important that I can help control that entire life cycle.
That's awesome. And I heard from your team that you just started onboarding Piper as part of your team. What use cases excite you the most about Piper? Yeah. Especially now with PiperX, I'm sure your brain's...
I'm going crazy. I've already made some calls. We're getting ready to implement her.
So I think there's two things. Personalization at scale is critical. So you can't just do batch and blast. You can't send everybody the same message. I don't even want everybody to see the same thing on my website. You really have to know each and every prospect from the moment they become a prospect and every single interaction they have with your brand. So what I've seen of PiperX, I mean, that's exactly what she can do. She can interact on your website. She can share relevant content, and she does it down to the individual prospect, which I think is the way that people expect to buy and sell in this new era.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So last but not least, we have a lot of marketers, especially CMOs, watching this today, and they're getting bombarded with the whole agentic revolution. What advice do you have for them to help them wade and navigate through all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a scary time because also I'm sure every CMO who's watching us, you have a board or a CEO or somebody who's saying, marketing, you need to be AI first. Like, we need to be the early adopters. And there's no playbook, right? There is no playbook. Nobody has written this before. So we're in uncharted territory. How I've been approaching it at Klaviyo is we really have looked at the key functions that we know we can automate and also the key functions that have been particularly annoying, right? Like yelling at people to follow up on leads or localization strategies. How do we move faster at some more of the routing prospects? All of these things can be automated. So for me, it's like pick a function, think about how you can systematically operationalize it, and then move on to the next. And this is giving my team back time, and it's allowing me to work with great partners like yourself to help use what you've already built to make my whole marketing tech stack better. And it's giving me like twice the amount of people to do my work because now I have this whole team of agents. So it's exciting, but a little bit scary.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, sage advice from an incredible CMO. So Jamie, thank you so much for the conversation today. Thank you for being a great customer. And Craig, back to you.
All right, thank you, Dan, and thank you so much, Jamie, for being with us today. What a show. Today, we unveiled PiperX, the only AI SDR agent who's multi-channel, multimodal, multi-stage of the funnel, and is running on a true multi-agent architecture. With this exciting new functionality, you can now engage your best buyers face-to-face at every step of their journey with Piper, the AI SDR superagent. Piper's going to help you generate pipeline at scale, and that's the promise of agentic marketing. As we heard from Keith and Jamie, there has never been a more exciting time to be a marketing leader. Thank you so much for joining us today at our PiperX launch event, and we'll see you next time.
Wow, that was incredible. PiperX is truly the future of pipeline generation.
Right? This really is groundbreaking technology. AI isn't just novelty, it's solving real problems that marketers have grappled with for decades. It's pretty unbelievable.
I totally agree. If you're interested in learning more about PiperX, be sure to reach out to the qualified team at any time. We're standing by, ready to answer any questions you may have. And for existing customers, PiperX will be available later this year, so be sure to connect with your dedicated, qualified success architect to learn more.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope you learned a ton, and we'll see you next time.